Have you ever wondered why love is both the most beautiful and the most perplexing thing in life? Why do some relationships become forever bonded, while others break apart despite all efforts? Have you ever asked yourself what is going on in a man's mind? Or why sometimes he remains silent, and at other times he unexpectedly shows care? Understanding the psychology of men is not a magic trick, but an art of observation and listening. In a relationship, reading him can help you build understanding, strengthen bonds, and avoid unnecessary misunderstandings. Let's explore some simple yet effective tips to gain deeper insight into the man beside you. Welcome to the channel Sophia's Knowledge, and my name is Sophia. This is a place where every story and every lesson about love will help you find the answers. Today, we will explore a fresh perspective on 7 tips to decode a man's psychology. These are not just empty words, but real-life experiences and profound lessons that will change the way you view love, watch and apply them immediately. Stay with Sophia, because the most surprising and interesting things are still waiting for you ahead. Before we begin, find a quiet place, put on your headphones, and relax your mind. Let the insights in this video help you feel more fully and enjoy every meaningful moment. Are you ready to embark on this journey? Let's go. 1. Observing body language. Observing body language is one of the most important factors in understanding a person's thoughts, feelings, and even hidden intentions. Body language not only includes hand gestures, leg movements, or postures when standing or sitting, but is also closely related to facial expressions, eye contact, and the rhythm of movement. In interactions with men, especially when trying to read their psychology, paying attention to these subconscious expressions can help you grasp a part of their mood, attitude, and level of interest. Through body language, you can tell if someone is comfortable and open, or on the contrary, if they are anxious, concealing something, or showing a particular interest. When observing body language, you should start with the big signals like posture when sitting, the way of standing, and facial expressions. For example, if the man you are talking to constantly leans toward you, occasionally leaning back in his chair to listen, that is usually a sign that he is interested in the conversation. Conversely, if he sits with his legs crossed, his face turned away or looking elsewhere, it might indicate that he is not really paying attention. However, do not jump to conclusions based solely on a single moment. You need to observe at various times to have a comprehensive and accurate picture. A person sitting with crossed legs does not always indicate distance, sometimes it's simply a habitual posture that makes him feel comfortable. The eyes are also an important aspect of body language. If he maintains natural eye contact, not staring too intensely yet not avoiding it, that is a sign of confidence and interest in the other person. If he frequently looks down, blinks continuously, or glances around, you might deduce that he is anxious, unfocused, or does not want to engage. Conversely, a fixed stare accompanied by a cold facial expression may indicate caution, or even a confrontational attitude. Observe the eyes combined with facial expressions, pupil dilation, and gaze direction to more accurately assess his psychological state. In addition, the face reflects more information than you might think. Pay attention to the eyebrows, the corners of the mouth, and especially the smile. A genuine smile often involves the participation of both eyes, causing them to slightly squint. If he smiles half-heartedly or his smile is rigid, this might indicate awkwardness, or he is just giving a polite smile rather than truly being happy. In fact, many people try to control their facial expressions, but small details like the gaze, raised or relaxed eyebrows, will reveal the true story behind the smile. The hands and legs also provide clear clues about one's psychological state. When someone places both open hands on the table, with nothing hidden, that is a sign that they are open, ready to listen and share. On the contrary, crossing the arms over the chest often indicates defensiveness, protection, or an unwillingness to get close. However, you should not assign a single meaning to each gesture. because sometimes people cross their arms simply because they feel tired or it's just a habitual posture. Similarly, if someone is fidgeting with his legs continuously, it could be due to nervousness or excitement, but it may also simply mean that he is restless or physically uncomfortable. Therefore, it is important to continuously observe and put these gestures in the overall context of the conversation, mood, and the surrounding environment. Another important aspect of observing body language is the pace and intensity of movement. A quiet man may move slowly with minimal hand and leg movements, while an extroverted person often uses more gestures and hand movements. Comparing his normal version with his version when talking to you is also very useful. If you usually see him as quiet and less animated, but when he meets you he becomes more lively and open, that shows a special interest or excitement. On the other hand, if he suddenly becomes reserved and uncomfortable when you appear, you need to consider the reason behind that change. You should also pay attention to involuntary movements. Many men may not realize that they are scratching their head, running their fingers through their hair, fidgeting with a tie, or lightly shaking their legs during a conversation. These small actions sometimes reveal nervousness, anxiety, or a desire to impress. For example, if a man suddenly runs his hand through his hair repeatedly while talking, he might be trying to adjust his appearance to look more neat in front of you. If these actions occur too frequently, it may be an indicator that he is lacking confidence or is under stress. The most important thing when observing body language is not to separate gestures from the context and the way he uses words. Listen to the content of what he shares, combined with his expressions and actions. If these elements are consistent, it means you are receiving a clear message. If his words and gestures conflict, it is very likely that he is hiding something, or at the very least, feeling uncomfortable discussing that topic. Pay attention to the pauses, the way he breathes, as well as the silences between sentences. All of these form a complete picture that helps you grasp his true feelings and emotions. Observing body language requires subtlety and skill. A man will sense if you are probing too much, which could make him defensive or awkward. Maintain a natural attitude, listen more than you speak, and simultaneously note the subtle changes in the way he interacts. When you keep a relaxed posture, friendly eye contact, and nod in agreement, you will see that he gradually tends to become more open, sincere, and willing to share his feelings. And that is precisely when you can read his psychology most accurately. What do you think about this lesson? 2. Understanding how he shows his care. Understanding how he shows his care is one of the essential tips to gain a clearer understanding of the man you care about. Each person expresses their emotions differently, depending on their personality, life circumstances, and past experiences. Some men are direct in their expression, while others show it quietly through their actions. If you master the way he expresses his care, you will gain deeper insight into his thoughts and feelings, and know how to build a harmonious relationship based on mutual understanding. First, pay attention to the signs of attentiveness in his words. A man who cares about you often finds ways to maintain the conversation. It is not necessary for him to talk continuously or incessantly, but the important thing is that he listens and responds sincerely. For instance, when you talk about your day at work, he might ask additional questions to understand better, or express his opinions instead of letting the conversation fall silent. This is a sign that he wants to accompany, understand, and share with you. A truly caring man is usually patient, willing to listen to your little confessions, because he cherishes your joys, sorrows, and experiences. Besides words, his actions are also an important indicator of his level of care. Sometimes, there are men who are not good with words or are not used to using flowery language to compliment or express their feelings. Instead, they quietly support you in overcoming difficulties, proactively help you with small tasks like carrying heavy items, or suggest solutions when they see you encountering problems. If you observe carefully, you will notice that he pays attention to the details of your daily life, such as noticing how you drink your coffee, your breakfast habits, or sensing what you might need. This quiet concern is reflected in the frequency with which he takes the initiative to do something for you without expecting or demanding anything in return. In the context of a relationship, some men prefer to share all their activities with their partner, while others update less frequently. However, if he truly cares, you can notice that he makes an effort to shorten the physical and temporal distance between you. For example, he might regularly arrange meetings, send you good morning messages, or ask, "Have you had lunch yet?" These seemingly simple details show that he wants to connect, to know what you are doing, and how you are feeling. When a man invests his time and mind in maintaining contact, it proves that you play an important role in his life. To gain deeper insight into how he shows his care, you should also pay attention to how he interacts with your family and friends. A man who genuinely values you will respect the relationships around you. He might not be articulate in his communication, but he will try to make a good impression when meeting your parents, siblings, or participating in gatherings with your close friends. If he makes an effort to inquire about your friends and family, that too is a sign that he wants to understand more about your world, rather than just caring about your presence in his. Additionally, an important expression of care is that he is willing to share with you the private aspects of his life. This sharing is not limited to happy and successful events, but also includes difficulties, failures, or worries and pressures. Men often tend to hide their emotions due to the pressure to appear strong, so if he opens up to you about his vulnerabilities or past wounds, it shows that you are someone he trusts. This is the moment you should show respect, listen, and encourage him so that the relationship develops on a foundation of understanding and sharing. You can also assess his care by the signs that he is making future plans. It might be small plans like traveling together, trying out a new dish, or something larger like discussing living together or building a family. When a man truly cares, he will want to integrate you into his life plans, wanting to know what you think about the direction the two of you are heading. A serious attitude in discussions about the future or ideas about building a home together indicates that he sees you as an indispensable part of his life. However, remember that not every action of his always speaks of absolute care. Sometimes, a person might temporarily pause calls or messages due to being busy or under work pressure. Men often want to focus on solving personal issues before getting back to you. Therefore, it is important for you to observe the consistency in his maintaining contact and care before and after busy periods. If, after all, he comes back, proactively explains, and continues to devote time to you, then you can be assured of his seriousness. Finally, do not forget to listen to your own feelings. If you perceive his care through small but sincere gestures, through his attitude and the way he communicates, that is the clearest evidence. You can also discuss with him about what you desire, ask questions about his thoughts, and see how he responds. A truly caring person is not only willing to share himself, but also wants to find ways to make you feel safe and happy. When you sense that sincerity, and he shows a desire to build a relationship based on trust, listening, and respect, you will have a solid foundation for a lasting bond. 3. Pay attention to how he reacts under pressure. In life, there will certainly be times when both of you have to face difficulties together, and a man who remains calm will be a safe harbor for you. Additionally, you should pay attention to whether he handles pressure in a positive or negative way. Some people, when stressed, will turn to healthy solutions such as exercising, reading, or taking a walk to calm their mind before returning to the issue. This type of person knows how to balance emotions and find a constructive solution. On the other hand, some choose to vent through negative actions like drinking alcohol, constant complaining, or lamenting about everything. These behaviors not only worsen the problem but also negatively affect those around them. When observing how he faces pressure, see if he tends to resolve the issue thoroughly or merely tries to temporarily forget about it in a superficial way. Another point to note is how he behaves with you when he is under pressure. Some men choose to remain silent and avoid conversation during stressful times. This does not mean he does not care about you, it is simply his way of handling his emotions before sharing. If he clearly tells you, "I need some time to think," then you should respect that personal space. Conversely, if he becomes irritable, cold, or even takes out his frustration on you without reason, then that is an unhealthy sign in the relationship. A man who truly cares about you will try not to let external pressures affect the way he treats you. He might not be cheerful or talkative, but he will still show respect and refrain from hurting you during stressful moments. His ability to seek help when under pressure is also a sign worth noting. Some men are very self-reliant and always try to handle everything on their own without bothering others. However, this is not always good, especially when the problem is too big. A man who knows when to ask for help shows that he is humble and aware of his own limitations. If he proactively shares his difficulties with you or listens to advice from others, that is a sign that he values your opinion and is willing to let you be an important part of his life. Conversely, if he always insists, "I can handle it myself," and dismisses any support, that might indicate he is not ready to share or build a relationship based on mutual understanding and companionship. A mature man who knows how to face pressure usually has specific plans to solve problems. He not only worries but also takes action, identifies the root cause, and proposes reasonable solutions. When encountering difficulties at work, he might say, "I will review where things went wrong and find a solution," instead of complaining, "Why does everything always happen to me?" If he can analyze the situation, accept his mistakes, and learn from his failures, that is a sign that he not only knows how to deal with pressure, but also has the capacity to mature through these challenges. Conversely, if he only complains or blames circumstances, colleagues, or others without self-reflection, then that is something you should consider. Finally, pay attention to whether he learns from the experience after overcoming pressure. A man who grows from difficult experiences usually does not repeat the same mistakes. He might share with you, "I didn't handle it well last time, so this time I'll try a different approach," or "I learned a lot from that experience." Conversely, if after many challenges he continues to act impulsively, get angry easily, or avoid responsibility, you should consider whether this relationship can develop sustainably. In summary, observing how a man reacts under pressure is an opportunity to understand his true character better. Pressure is a mirror that reflects one's nature and personality. A resilient man will not let difficulties defeat him. He knows how to manage his emotions, find solutions, and never forget to respect those around him. When choosing a partner for a long journey together, pay attention to how he handles challenges, as it will determine whether you can rely on him when storms come your way. If you are still watching until this moment, do not hesitate to comment the word "continue." Please leave your thoughts and questions in the comments below. I look forward to hearing your opinions, and don't forget to like and subscribe so that Sophia is further motivated to create more meaningful and great videos. Let's continue together. 4. Listen to how he speaks about his passion and interests. Understanding a man's passion and interests is the key to delving deeper into his true self. Passion is not only what excites him but also reflects his values, personality, and the way he perceives the world around him. When a man talks about what he loves, that is when you can observe his most genuine self and natural emotions. Listening to how he speaks about his passion and interests not only helps you understand him better, but also serves as a means to build a closer, more connected relationship. First, pay attention to his tone of voice and the look in his eyes when he talks about the things he loves. A man, when mentioning his passion, will often have an animated tone, his eyes will light up, and he may speak continuously without needing to be prompted. You can clearly recognize the difference between when he talks about his daily work and when he describes his favorite sport, a personal project, or a special hobby. That excitement shows that these interests bring him joy and motivation in life. If he shares his passion accompanied by stories, memorable moments, or anecdotes, it proves that this passion is not just a fleeting interest but an important part of who he is. Passion does not always have to be something grand like a career or major projects. Sometimes, it is simply a modest hobby like reading, cooking, collecting antiques, or traveling. What matters is the way he talks about those things. If he spends time researching, learning about, and investing in his interests, it indicates that he is persistent, goal-oriented, and knows how to enjoy life. Conversely, if he appears indifferent or only mentions his hobbies as a routine habit, it may not be something he is truly passionate about but merely a way to pass the time. While listening, ask follow-up questions such as, "What makes you love that so much? When did you start this hobby?" Or do you have any memorable stories related to this passion? These questions not only encourage him to open up further, but also reveal the depth and richness of his feelings. The way he allocates time for his passion is also an important indicator. A man who truly loves something will try to arrange his schedule to pursue it, no matter how busy he is. If he mentions that even after a tiring day at work, he still makes time for jogging, playing the guitar, or reading a few pages of his favorite book, it shows that he knows how to balance his life and prioritize his own joy. Conversely, if he always uses the excuse "I'm too busy" to justify not engaging in the hobbies he once mentioned, you might question his level of commitment to what he claims is important. Another aspect to notice is how he invites you to participate in his passion. If he invites you to join him in playing sports, traveling, or recommends a movie or book he loves, it is a sign that he wants to share a part of his world with you. He does not view his passion as a private pleasure, but hopes that you will understand and accompany him. In cases where you do not share the same interests, show respect and support. You do not necessarily have to love it, but being open to listening and trying new experiences will help you become more connected. On the contrary, if he keeps his personal interests to himself, does not want to share, or appears irritated when you ask about them, that might indicate that he prefers to keep his private life separate or is not yet ready for you to delve deeper into his world. Additionally, the way he talks about the challenges he faces while pursuing his passion also reveals much about his character. A man who truly loves something will not be afraid to talk about the failures and difficulties he has encountered along the way. This shows that he is persistent, willing to accept challenges, and not one to give up easily. If he shares that it took him a long time to learn a new skill, but he continued because of the joy it brings him, that is a sign of genuine passion. Conversely, if he only talks about successes and avoids mentioning the hardships, he might be trying to create a favorable impression rather than investing fully in his passion. You should also note whether his passion has a positive or negative impact on his life. A healthy hobby will help him balance, relax, and develop himself. For example, if he loves reading to expand his knowledge, playing sports to maintain his health, or participating in volunteer activities, these are signs of someone who seeks joy in a positive way. However, if his passion causes him to neglect his work, ignore relationships, or adversely affect his health, you should be cautious. Balance is a crucial element in maintaining a healthy relationship. Equally important is the consistency between his words and actions. If he claims to be passionate about music but cannot name a favorite artist or recall the last time he listened to music, you should take that into account. True passion often comes with knowledge and investment. A man who loves photography will be excited to share his photos, the equipment he uses, or memorable photo excursions. A travel enthusiast will have a host of interesting stories about the places he has visited. When listening, you will notice the sincerity in each word if it is something he truly loves. Finally, observe whether his passion aligns with your values. Although you do not necessarily need to share the same interests, if his passion is too different or contradicts your own worldview, think carefully. For instance, if you value health and he spends most of his time on video games to the neglect of everything else, this could become an issue in the long run. Conversely, if his passion inspires you, helps you learn, and broadens your horizons, then it is a relationship worth cherishing. Listening to how he speaks about his passion and interests is not only an opportunity to learn more about him, but also helps you discover many interesting aspects of life and the values he pursues. Passion is an essential part of what shapes the person he is today. When you know how to listen, understand, and accompany him, your relationship will become deeper and more enduring. 5. Understanding how he expresses his affection. Affection is an indispensable part of any relationship, especially in love. However, each man has his own way of expressing his feelings. Some openly show it with words, while others do so quietly through actions. Understanding the way he expresses his affection will help you feel his sincerity and know your position in his heart. It is important to recognize the subtle signs, as affection is not always displayed in a straightforward manner. First of all, words are one of the clearest expressions of affection. Some men do not hesitate to speak sweet words, expressing their feelings with phrases like "I miss you," "I care about you," or "I love you." For these men, words are a way to convey emotions directly and clearly. However, not all men find it easy to open up their feelings verbally. Many feel that saying such things is difficult or unfamiliar, especially those who grew up in environments where emotions were seldom expressed. If he does not frequently say loving words, do not quickly assume that he does not care. Perhaps he is expressing his affection in other ways that you have not noticed. One of the other common ways to show affection is through actions. There is a saying that actions speak louder than words. This is entirely true when it comes to how a man expresses his feelings. A man who truly cares will demonstrate it through specific deeds. He might take you home even in the rain, give you the best portion of a meal, fix things that are broken for you, or be ready to help when you encounter difficulties. Small actions like opening the car door, holding your hand when crossing the street, or putting his jacket on you when it's cold are all signs that he wants you to feel protected and safe. For many men, love does not need to be spoken, it lies in the daily acts of care. In addition, the time he dedicates to you is also a measure of his affection. In a busy life, time is a precious asset. If he is willing to spend time with you, from simple dates to late-night conversations, it shows that you are important to him. Conversely, if he always uses the excuse of being busy and never tries to arrange meetings or conversations, you need to reconsider the level of his care. A man who truly loves you will find ways to appear in your life, even if it's just a few minutes a day to check in or share everyday moments. Listening and understanding is another manifestation that shows he cares about your feelings. When in love, a man will want to know what you think, how you feel, and what you desire. He will pay attention to the small details, remember the stories you tell, even if they are old, and care about your preferences or habits. If you mention that you like a certain coffee shop and later he takes you there, it shows that he is truly listening. Or when you are sad, he not only asks is something wrong, but patiently listens until you feel better. Understanding is not just about agreeing with you, but about trying to see things from your perspective. Another important sign is how he introduces you to the important people in his life. When a man truly loves you, he will not hesitate to introduce you to his friends, colleagues, or family. His desire for you to appear at significant events shows that he is proud of the relationship and wants to integrate you into his world. If he always keeps your relationship under wraps and never mentions you in front of others, you need to consider whether he is serious or not. The support he offers when you face difficulties is also a measure of his affection. A man who loves you will not turn his back when you encounter sadness or trouble. He may not be able to solve every problem, but he will always be by your side, offering advice or simply listening. Sometimes, just saying "I'm here, don't worry," can make you feel warm and reassured. Love is not only demonstrated in happy moments, but is proven during tough times. If he is willing to stay by you when you are weak, that is a sign of sincerity. In addition, the way he shows intimacy through affectionate gestures also reflects the level of his feelings. Gentle hand-holding, tender glances, or a warm embrace are nonverbal languages that express care. A man who loves you will want to create close physical connections while respecting your boundaries. He does not rush or force anything, but lets everything happen naturally. While walking beside you, he might shield you from the sun with his hand or gently adjust your hair if it becomes messy. These small yet loving actions can sometimes have more impact than any sweet words. Another factor you should not overlook is the sacrifice and compromise in the relationship. Love cannot last long if both parties only know how to receive without giving. A man who truly loves you will be willing to change bad habits, compromise during minor disagreements, or sacrifice some personal interests to make you happy. This does not mean that he gives up his identity, but rather that he places you in an important position in his life. If he always seeks compromise and listens to your opinions during conflicts, it is a sign that he values the relationship and does not want to lose you. Finally, the consistency between his words and actions is the key to recognizing genuine affection. Men can easily say sweet words, but only those who truly love will show consistency between what they say and what they do. If he says he cares about you but frequently forgets important things, breaks promises, or appears indifferent when you need him, that is a sign of insincerity. Conversely, a man of few words who is always there when you need him and does exactly what he promises is someone truly worthy of your appreciation. In summary, understanding how he expresses his affection is not only based on his words, but also requires observing his actions, attitude, and how he treats you in various situations. True love does not need to be flashy or overly adorned with flowery language. It lies in quiet care, patient listening, and practical deeds. When you feel safe, warm, and valued by his presence, that is the clearest evidence of the love he has for you. 6. Recognizing the level of commitment. In any relationship, the level of commitment is the key factor that determines its sustainability and longevity. Commitment is not only reflected in promises, but also demonstrated through actions, attitudes, and the way a man defines his relationship with you. Understanding his level of commitment helps you know whether the current relationship is heading in a serious direction or is just a temporary attachment. This is extremely important, especially when you are seeking a stable and long-lasting relationship. One of the most noticeable signs of commitment is the way he talks about the future. If, during conversations, he frequently mentions long-term plans that include you, it is a clear indication that he takes the relationship seriously. Phrases like, "When we travel together next year, I'm saving so that later we can," or "we should consider meeting each other's families," all serve as evidence that he has already considered a long-term bond. Conversely, if he only talks about the present and avoids mentioning the future, or when you bring up future plans he remains silent or evasive, it shows that he is not yet ready for a deep commitment. The time and priority he dedicates to you are also important measures. A man committed to the relationship will make time for you, not only during his free moments, but also by adjusting his busy schedule to be with you. He understands that investing time is evidence of appreciation and a desire to build a strong relationship. If you notice that he always tries to give you quality time, even if it's just small moments like having dinner together after a long day or sending you a good night message, it shows genuine care. Conversely, if you always have to be the one to arrange everything and feel that you are not a priority in his life, you should reconsider the level of his commitment. The consistency between his words and actions is an indispensable factor when assessing commitment. A man who is truly serious will not only stop at promises, but will also demonstrate them with concrete actions. If he says he will do something for you or for the relationship, he will strive to follow through on his words. This might include supporting you when you face difficulties, keeping his promises about dates, or simply being present when you need him. True commitment is demonstrated through small, consistent, and responsible actions. If you notice that he frequently makes promises but rarely follows through, or finds excuses to justify his failures, that is a sign that he is not truly serious. His presence during the important moments in your life also reflects the level of commitment he has for the relationship. When you have significant events like family gatherings, graduation ceremonies, birthdays, or other special occasions, a committed man will try to be there or at least show his concern. He understands that his presence is not only a form of support but also evidence that he wants to be an important part of your life. If he is often absent on such occasions or downplays their significance, you should rethink the relationship. How he handles conflicts is also an indicator of his level of commitment. In any relationship, conflicts are inevitable. What matters is not the size of the conflict, but how both parties resolve it. A committed man will not simply walk away or ignore a disagreement. Instead, he will try to talk, listen to your perspective, and work towards a common solution. He understands that a sustainable relationship cannot rely solely on happy moments, but must also overcome difficult periods. If, after each argument, he remains determined to resolve the issue and does not let negative emotions linger, that is a sign that he values the relationship with you. Introducing you to his family and friends is one of the clearest signs of his level of commitment. When a man is serious, he will not hesitate to bring you into his world and introduce you to the important people in his life. This shows that he is proud of the relationship and wants his loved ones to know about you. Conversely, if after a long time of being together, he still finds ways to avoid introducing you to his family or friends, he may not be ready for a long-term relationship. From work and relationships to the difficulties he faces, it is a sign that he sees you as a trustworthy partner. Conversely, if he frequently hides things or gives vague answers when you ask about important issues, you need to reconsider the sincerity in the relationship. In summary, recognizing the level of commitment is not only based on words, but more importantly on observing his actions, attitudes, and the way he treats you in different situations. A truly serious man will always be consistent between his words and actions, ready to accompany you through both happy and difficult times. Listen to your own feelings and observe how he is present in your life. When you feel safe, valued, and an essential part of his future plans, that is the clearest evidence that he is truly committed to the relationship. 7. Respect his quiet moments. In a relationship, understanding and respecting each other's personal space is an important factor that helps the relationship become sustainable and healthy. Especially for men, quiet moments are not only a personal need but also a way for them to balance their emotions, relieve stress, and regain energy. Understanding and respecting this time of his will not only help you avoid unnecessary misunderstandings, but also contribute to building a relationship based on understanding and trust. First, you need to understand why men need quiet moments. Men often tend to solve problems in their own way. When facing pressure from work, family, or relationships, they often choose to withdraw in order to think, find solutions, rather than immediately express their emotions. For many men, silence is not a sign of indifference or distance, but an opportunity to reorganize their thoughts, define the problem, and find their own way to solve it. Quiet moments help them soothe negative emotions, avoid rash reactions, or making hasty decisions. Understanding this will help you not feel abandoned or worried when he becomes less talkative or wants to be alone. The signs that he needs quiet moments are often quite clear if you observe carefully. He may become less talkative than usual, not enthusiastic about conversations, or even avoid communication altogether. Some choose to sit quietly, absorbed in a personal hobby, such as reading, listening to music, playing sports, or simply taking a walk alone. Others might temporarily stop replying to messages or decline invitations to meet. These behaviors do not mean that he is sulking or has lost interest in the relationship, but simply reflect his personal need to restore energy. The important thing is not to jump to conclusions or force him to share when he isn't ready. When you notice that he needs quiet moments, the best approach is to give him his own space. Do not constantly text asking, "How are you?" "Why are you so silent?" or "Do you not care about me anymore?" Such persistent questions, even if stemming from concern, may make him feel pressured and uncomfortable. Instead, you can gently say, "I see that you seem tired lately. If you need some alone time, I understand and will wait until you're ready to share." A simple sentence that shows understanding and respect will help him feel cared for without being forced. Allowing him his space will give him the opportunity to process his emotions and return when he feels more stable. What can you do while waiting? Use this time to take care of yourself. Don't let your mind revolve solely around the question, "What is he doing?" or "Did I do something wrong?" Instead, spend time on your own hobbies, meet friends, read a favorite book, or join a new class. Keeping yourself actively engaged not only helps you feel happy, but also makes him appreciate you more when he sees that you know how to take care of yourself. A relationship is a bond between two independent individuals, and maintaining your own joy will create attraction and balance. When should you initiate a conversation? Quiet moments are necessary, but if they last too long without any sign of improvement, you need to know when to speak up. If he remains silent for several days in a row, avoiding all contact without explanation, you have the right to ask questions. Choose an appropriate time when he seems calmer and approach with concern rather than blame. "I understand you need your space, but I also worry about you. If there's anything you want to share, I'm always ready to listen." A gentle approach will help him feel more comfortable expressing his thoughts. After the quiet period, don't forget to listen and empathize. When he is ready to open up, listen sincerely without interrupting or hastily offering judgments. Sometimes, he doesn't need advice, but simply needs you to listen and share his emotions. If he says that he has been quiet because he doesn't want to unload his stress onto you, appreciate his concern and reassure him that you are always there when he needs you. Sometimes, knowing that someone understands and is ready to accompany him is a great encouragement. Some common misunderstandings about quiet moments to avoid: silence does not necessarily mean he no longer loves you. Men often tend to withdraw when facing pressure to solve problems on their own. This does not mean that he is cold or no longer cares. Do not compare it with the way you handle emotions. Women often want to share when facing difficulties, whereas men choose silence. Understand that this is simply a difference in handling problems, not indifference. Do not use his quiet moments as an excuse to hurt yourself. Avoid negative thoughts or self-blame when he needs space. It is his personal need, not your fault. How can you support him during his quiet moments without adding pressure? Send a short but warm message: "I understand you need some time. I just want you to know that I'm here if you need me." Prepare a small surprise for when he returns. A good meal or a gentle walk can help him feel cared for without feeling pressured. Create a comfortable environment. Sometimes, it isn't necessary to say much. Sitting together watching a movie, listening to music, or doing something light together can be enough to make him feel at ease. In summary, respecting his quiet moments demonstrates understanding and maturity in the relationship. Men sometimes need space to reorganize their emotions and address problems in their own way. Your patient waiting, without pressuring him yet showing care, will help him feel safe and trusted. A healthy relationship is one in which both partners give each other the necessary space without losing their connection. When he returns after his quiet moments and sees that you are still there, calm, patient, and understanding, that is when your relationship becomes deeper and stronger than ever. Conclusion: understanding and reading a man's psychology is not an easy task, as everyone has their own way of expressing emotions and thoughts. However, when you know how to observe and pay attention to the subtle signs from his body language, the way he shows care, faces pressure, talks about his passion, expresses affection, demonstrates commitment, and maintains quiet moments, you will gradually understand his true self. Men are not always good at expressing their emotions with words, but their actions, gaze, and attitudes are the most genuine language. The important thing when applying these tips is patience and subtlety. Don't rush to judge based on a single moment or a temporary expression. Observe him in various situations to gain a comprehensive perspective. Understanding does not mean controlling or scrutinizing excessively, but rather accompanying, sharing, and respecting each other's differences. A sustainable relationship is built on trust, listening, and empathy. Finally, whether you are in the early stages of getting to know someone or already in a long-term relationship, remember that sincerity is always the golden key in communication and love. When you open your heart, understand, and respect your partner's emotions, you not only understand him better but also help the relationship become deeper, more connected, and more meaningful. Understanding others is important, but don't forget to listen to yourself and feel what your heart tells you. Thank you for spending your time watching today's video. I hope that these insights about love and the lessons from this video will give you new perspectives and help you find empathy. If you find the video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with those around you. Each of us has our own stories about love, and I am very happy to explore them with you. See you in the next videos. Wishing you a wonderful day filled with love.